Welcome to Innovations. I'm Ed Begley Jr. With catastrophes like hurricanes and tornadoes sweeping across the nation, it's more important than ever to plan for the unexpected. This is one of the biggest challenges builders and engineers are faced with today.
Each year, natural disasters such as flood, fire, earthquake, tornado, and windstorm affect thousands of people.
Almost 10 years ago, Hurricane Katrina killed 1,833 people in the Gulf Coast and resulted in more than $120 billion in economic losses. More recently, we had Hurricane Sandy, which killed 147 people and led to $83 billion in losses. Here in Hawaii, we have many different hazards and threats. We have active volcanoes, earthquakes and tsunamis, hurricanes, and coastal flooding.
Sponsored through the Department of Homeland Security and FEMA National Preparedness Directorate, the National Disaster Preparedness Training Center, the NDPTC, identifies, develops, tests, and delivers training to state and local emergency responders.
Over the last 3 years, we've trained more than 14,000 first responders and emergency managers across more than 240 cities in the U.S. Our courses focus on hazards such as volcanoes and tsunamis and severe weather. We did FEMA's first social media class. We also have done courses on mapping, on damage assessment. Another course that we're developing is on the use of unmanned aerial vehicles. Finally, we focus on vulnerable, at-risk populations. So we've developed a course for senior caregivers and other people that are at risk of being hurt in disasters. The mission of our center is to develop and test training, a lot of the times in the field, incorporating the latest science and technology.
I am associated with the Spatial Data Analysis and Visualization Lab at Hilo, and there we do a lot of different types of work with remote sensing, and what we've been working on a lot with are UAVs, or unmanned aerial vehicles, for all sorts of different applications, from resource management, invasive species identification, to lately a lot of work with disasters. The primary work is with lava flow in the Pahoa area and helping civil defense and the USGS map out the lava flow and understand and hopefully better predict where it's going to go in the future. Training is hugely important for this, not only for the operations of the aircraft, but also for how you deal with data at the end once you've collected it and you want to turn it into knowledge that could be used to answer some kind of a question. And so we're working with the National Disaster Preparedness Training Center and some other folks to develop some curriculum and other materials that we can help for training.
One of the courses that we help to develop with NDPTC is a disaster assessment training program. So as soon as a disaster occurs, you have to have timely, accurate information and get it to the first responders as quickly as possible in order for them to actually assess the situation, to then plan going forward, how are they going to respond. Initially, when Hurricane Iselle came through, everyone thought it was actually okay, but in reality, everyone was trapped under all the trees and all the albizia trees that were here. So one of the first situations is to really understand what's going on so that you can then articulate a response. So one of the things we do is work very closely with NDPTC to actually develop those training programs and actually go out and train people. The tools that we had developed with NDPTC in the state of Hawaii really could get information back to first responders and people so they could actually make better decisions about what they were going to do in response to the ever-changing kind of conditions, even as the hurricane had passed.
This is a city that has been threatened by not just tsunamis and coastal storms, but also from lava, from Mauna Loa.
This has to be one of the most exciting areas in the United States. It's on the flank of Kilauea volcano, our most active volcano. It's been in eruption since 1983, no sign of stopping at the present day. We're in a situation here where the county and local agencies have had a long time to prepare and adapt to make plans. So, I mean, we're seeing information, we're getting material that we're already building into our other courses, to our high-level Science of Disasters course, to our individual courses on volcano awareness. All of the material that we are assembling is feeding into that. By the same token, the skill sets that we have in the Disaster Centre can work very, very well in the context of supporting the response effort by the county and by the local agencies in the Volcano Observatory. So things like our capacity to be able to do rapid real-time evaluation of vulnerability and risk, to do similar estimates of impact when it actually happens, with Volcano video productions to produce a just-in-time training for the local residents, which can be delivered directly, but it's also up on the web. It's had over 10,000 hits already, so the relationship works well.
Combining urban planning and environmental management, the National Disaster Preparedness Training Center addresses the needs of vulnerable at-risk populations.
NDPTC offers a social media class on the role of disasters and social media in the role of disasters. Social media played a pivotal role in the aftermath of Iselle. It literally saved lives. People were clamoring for information. There was a site that was created on Facebook called Iselle Recovery and Assistance, and it really became a central gathering place for people that didn't have access. They couldn't maybe leave their neighborhood, maybe they couldn't leave their house, but they could find out where the resources were. And there were lots of examples of people who needed medical supplies, people who may have been injured, were trying to get assistance, or people who had existing medical conditions that needed assistance that perhaps the authorities weren't aware of. Ambulances couldn't get to everybody. So social media played a tremendous role, and it literally saved people's lives.
The National Disaster Preparedness Training Center has worked to strengthen existing assets, institutions, and processes to increase resilience and sustainability of positive emergency management outcomes. For more information, visit ndptc.hawaii.edu.